If I don't return, promise me you'll live a beautiful life." These were the final words written by an American infantryman, a soldier who landed in Normandy and later fought through the frozen forests of Belgium during World War II. Today, we remember World War II through maps, battle strategies, and historic photos. But behind every campaign were letters, hidden inside jackets, footlockers, and family attics, words written by soldiers who knew some of them would never come home. This is one of those letters. After the Normandy landings in June 1944, the beaches were no longer filled with gunfire, only wreckage, burned vehicles, and helmets scattered across the sand. He had survived D-Day, but many of his closest friends hadn't. He was 24 years old, serving in the U.S. Army infantry. Before the war, he worked at a small hardware shop, loved baseball, old radio songs, than the girl who lived across the street. He once promised her, "I'll come back." But after Normandy, he stopped making promises. From the hedgerows of France to the muddy fields of Belgium, his unit pushed forward for months, tired, cold, and under constant fire. His letters home changed. They became quieter, more honest. He wrote about the faces he still saw at night, about memories that followed him into every sunrise, and about how each new day felt borrowed. Through everything, he kept one thing in his pocket, a small photograph of his fiancée, its corners worn and faded, but never forgotten. By the winter of 1944, he was in the Ardennes forest when the German army launched a massive surprise offensive, what would become known as the Battle of the Bulge. The cold was brutal. The snow was deep. American soldiers dug into frozen foxholes, surviving on scarce rations and little sleep. Some prayed, some joked quietly to hide their fear. Others simply stared into the darkness. And there, in that silence, he took out his notebook and began writing his final letter. "My dearest, if this letter reaches you, it means I was not able to return." He paused as distant artillery echoed through the trees, then continued writing. He described Belgium covered in snow, the forest still and quiet, as if the world had forgotten there was a war. He remembered warm summers back home, evening walks, and her smile beneath the porch light. He wrote that when the snow fell, he pretended he was walking beside her again. For the first time, he spoke honestly about fear. He wrote that he wasn't afraid of dying, but of her waiting at the station for a train he would never step off. He wrote about the men beside him, boys who had grown old in months, friends who now existed only as names carved into helmets. But he didn't want her to hate the world. He told her he didn't fight because he loved war. He fought because he hoped their children would never have to. As dawn approached, the candle beside him burned low. He chose his final words carefully. "If I don't return, promise me you won't live in sorrow. Cry for me for a little while, but then live, laugh again, love again, build the life we dreamed of, even if I can't be there to share it." He folded the letter, kissed the page, and handed it to his closest friend. "If I don't make it back, send this home." At sunrise, artillery roared across the forest. Orders were shouted. Boots rushed across the frozen ground. Before moving forward, he whispered that he hoped the letter would never need to be read. But fate had already decided. Later that day, in the snow-covered fields of Belgium, he fell. Months later, a knock came at a quiet American doorstep. A worn envelope was delivered, faded, creased, written in his handwriting. His fiancée opened it with trembling hands and read the words, "If I don't return." Her tears fell not only for his loss, but for his love. A love strong enough to think about her future, even in his final night. This wasn't just one soldier's story. Thousands of American soldiers fought from Normandy to the Ardennes forests of Belgium. Some made it home, many didn't. Behind every memorial stone and battlefield, there are letters filled with dreams, promises, and final goodbyes written beneath the cold winter sky of a world at war.